Does everybody have a glass?
No.
Does everybody have a glass who wants a glass?
No.
I didn't think so.
Thank you.
Does anybody know why we drink after ballooning?
Happy we're down.
All your pilots are alcoholics. There is a bit of a tradition behind it. I can tell you the story if you like.
Sure.
Yeah? Okay, well, ballooning first started in 1783. There were two brothers named the Montgolfier brothers. They were from Paris, France. Their father owned a paper factory just outside of Paris. One day they were out back burning some of the waste paper. They watched little bits of paper and ash rise up in the smoke. So being as bored as they were, they decided to build some paper bags, hold it over the smoke, and watched it rise up. They soon realized the bigger the bag, the more weight it could carry. So they thought perhaps if they were to build one big enough, maybe one day man would be able to fly. One thing they were unsure of, though, is whether man could survive off the earth. So they decided to do an experiment. They used a sheep, a rooster, and a duck. Two birds, you may wonder why. This was their idea of a controlled experiment. The sheep would stay on the ground, a rooster could only fly low, but a duck could fly high. So they could try to figure out what altitude man would survive to. So they cut the ropes, let them go. They flew just over 1,000 feet, flew for about 10 minutes. They came crashing down, but all the animals survived. So they thought, this is great. Now they know they have a machine they can fly in, and man could survive off the earth. So now all they needed was permission from the king, King Louis XVI. So they went to see the king, showed him some of these experiments. He thought this was a grand idea. He decided to invite people from near and far into Paris for man's first flight, November 21st, 1783. Nearly 400,000 people showed up. One of the largest gatherings in history up until that time. They built the balloon big enough for 2 men. In the middle, they burnt straw and manure, because this made lots of smoke, and that's what they thought would make it rise. The pilots were given great big long sticks with wet cotton on the end, so they could try to extinguish the balloon if it were to catch fire. So there they are, all ready to go. The king asked the brothers to step on board. Well, both brothers refused. They decided that morning they didn't want to fly. So the king thought, no problem, all these people, who would like to come forward and fly? Be the first man to fly. Well, no one stepped forward. So now he has a big dilemma. All these people watching, balloon ready to go. He has an idea. He yells to his guard, off to the gallows, get me some prisoners. We'll have a flight today. So off the guard goes to get the prisoners. Well, he's gone. The queen, Marie Antoinette. She whispers to the king, my king, this is a horrible idea. If these men fly and survive, they'll go down in the history books. They'll be world heroes, and we'll look like fools for sending up condemned men. So the king agreed, decided to send them back to prison. I'm sure they were very happy they didn't have to fly. So finally the king decided he'd offer a grand prize if anyone would step forward and fly. It took several minutes, but finally one nobleman stepped forward. His name was Pilatre de Rosier, hence the name pilot in aviation today. Along with him, he brought his good friend, probably kicking and screaming. His name was Copilatre. No. His name was Marquis de Lande. So they both stepped on board the balloon, they cut the ropes, and off they flew. It was very windy that day. They traveled a great distance into the French countryside. As they came crashing down, both men were ejected from the balloon. This caused the balloon to take flight again by itself. It traveled several more fields before coming down in a field where all the farmers were out working. As it came crashing down, it was billowing smoke, dragging across the fields, setting the crops on fire. The only thing the farmers had ever seen fly before was a bird. So they thought perhaps this was something sent to destroy their crops. They banded together with pitchforks and scythes and went out to attack the balloon. As they're attacking the balloon, the pilot and co-pilot are running across the fields trying to catch up. From a great distance away, it looked like they were rising from the ground, emerging from smoke to come save this beast. So the farmers turned on them, attacked and tried to kill them. They narrowly escaped with their lives. They ran away. They made it back to Paris, went to see the king, told the king, forget it, we're not flying these things anymore. Every time we land, they'll try to kill us. So the king had an idea. At that time, the only place on earth you could get champagne was directly from the king himself. He decided to give each pilot a bottle to fly with, Upon landing, he was to give it to the landowner, show him the label, to prove that the king had sanctioned such a flight, and they were not evil demons there to destroy the crops. So we carry the tradition on today. Unfortunately, the only landowners I saw were the zebra. They don't drink the champagne, so we're going to have to drink it all. My history lesson for the day. They say it's very good luck if you can catch the cork in your glass.
Even better if you catch it in your teeth.
I like that idea.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Well, gentlemen, to flight in the morning.